Increasing the demand for U.S. beef around the globe is a key priority of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. And recently, a group of industry leaders had the opportunity to travel to Asia to learn more about the markets and the future of U.S. beef trade. Let's head to Cattlemen reporter Mike Deering, who's learning more. Hi, Mike.
Thanks, Kevin. I'm here in Washington, D.C. with leaders from the U.S. beef industry who just got back from a trade mission in Asia. They're here to share their insights from that journey. I'm joined today by Bill Westman, Vice President of International Trade for the American Meat Institute, CEO of the National Meat Association, Barry Carpenter, CEO of the U.S. Meat Export Federation, Phil Sang, and Forrest Roberts, CEO of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. To start this off, I'm going to turn to Forrest and ask you just to tell us what this is all about and what you're doing here in Washington, D.C.
Well, this week here in Washington, D.C., we're following up with the United States Trade Representative's Office and other key government officials within USDA to really give them the outcomes and the learnings of what we brought back from our recent trip to Asia. Our focus in Asia was around three countries: China, Taiwan, followed by Japan. And within our focus there, it was about how do we understand what are the issues facing those three countries and the large opportunity that we have in all of these key Asian markets for U.S. beef, and understanding what are the real issues, and more importantly, how do we come back to the U.S. and look at ways that we can implement solutions to fix these problems. It was an opportunity to develop relationships, and it was an opportunity to have a collaborative relationship with all four of our organizations in representing the U.S. beef supply chain. So why is that important? It's very important for producers in the United States to understand the value that is there. It's incremental value for producers that it can range anywhere from $150 to $200 a head when we talk about the value of these critical export markets. So that was a little bit of why we were there, what we were doing, and what we're trying to follow up with here currently this week.
From a high level, Phil, can you give us an overview or a recap of your trip?
Well, I think number one is we wanted to afford the CEOs here, the leaders of the industry, an opportunity to see the markets directly and from the perspective of the markets as opposed to from maybe the perspective from the U.S. So what we did was we arranged meetings with health officials, we arranged meetings with government officials, with trade, with industry, so everyone could have a good opportunity to see and understand the issues that we confront in these markets. I think number one is in China. We had very good meetings with the Chinese officials. I think we understand their position, they understand our position, and I think the most important thing I think with China is the fact that we got to move on China now. I think with Taiwan we had the same kinds of meetings with government and trade, and also in Japan there were very, very good meetings also with the Japanese as far as the trade, the industry, and taking a look at what it's going to take to move beyond that 20-month threshold that we've been stymied with for so long.
Now, Barry, according to the U.S. International Trade Commission, China's potential of all ag exports would be in the neighborhood of $3.9 to $5.2 billion. And when we talk about China, what does that mean for U.S. beef?
Well, it's tremendous for U.S. beef. We see an immediate jump of $200 million worth of sales into China. And that will just be the starting point. As the standard of living continues to increase in China, the demand for high-quality proteins like U.S. beef will continue to grow exponentially. So we're very optimistic, and we're very anxious for these trade access issues to go away.
Now, China is undoubtedly a very complicated market. Since 2003, the doors have been closed, but China's official policy is that they're open to U.S. beef. Bill, can you explain the story with China?
Yes, that's true. China has stated that the market is open for U.S. beef. The problem is they have put on 22 conditions which our industry is not able to meet or is not commercially viable. For example, they have certain product restrictions on offals which we cannot meet, and they have put a traceability requirement on our cattle which we're not able to meet. So the U.S. government was in China in January to try to negotiate some of these items, but they were not successful. There was a stalemate in the negotiations, and we've asked them to go back and handle some of these technical issues as soon as possible so that we can get this market back open.
Now, Forrest, as CEO of the largest national cattlemen's organization, what is NCBA doing to help move beef into China and get those restrictions lifted, so to speak?
Well, China is no doubt, as already been stated, a very high priority for all 4 organizations, not just NCBA. And within that, that's what our government affairs team here in Washington, D.C. is doing every day. They're burning boot leather, as the old saying goes, on Capitol Hill every day and working with organizations and agencies like the U.S. Trade Representative's Office, USDA, in trying to provide solutions to these technical issues that have been referenced by Bill here just a few seconds ago. And so that is our focus. We maintain that focus each and every day, and the only way we're going to be successful is being very collaborative in our discussions and how we carry out these solutions with these 3 organizations, and that's why we went to China together.
Let's take that same question to you, Phil. What's USMEF, the U.S. Meat Export Federation, doing to get these restrictions lifted?
Well, I think number one is we work very closely with the Ag Affairs Office and the U.S. Embassy. I think one of the key things that we work on is trying to find and gather the most incisive information about what's going on in the market every day as it unfoils. So I think one of the key things we do is report this information back to our industry partners, report it back to the USDA, so it will afford them an opportunity to deal with ground level information to go forward and be as impactful as they can in these negotiations.
Thank you, gentlemen.